Hello and welcome to Monday's North Pole Happy Hour. Sitting next to me over here on, let's see if I can get this right. That's correct. Got it that way. Phineas to you up. Say hello, Phineas.
Good day, everybody. Hoping everybody's having a lovely day this lovely Monday afternoon.
And right down here is the one, the only Randall Santa Checker Lee.
Hi guys, great to see you. TGIM, as I like to say. Thank goodness it's Monday. Good to
Could
see
we say
everybody.
it's
Glad you're
could we,
here.
could we say it's Merry Monday?
Merry Monday.
Very nice.
Everybody should be merry at this point. The weather's looking nice outside, and most everybody's happy about that. This time of year where you can get out and enjoy yourself. I think Randall said he sat out for the first time and had coffee this
I
morning
did. I
outside.
sat on the deck this morning, had my cup of coffee, 72 at home. I'm sure it's not going to last. It's supposed to be in the 40s tomorrow, but I'll take
Sure.
it while I can get it for a few days. This roller coaster ride this time of year.
I know Phineas has gotten in some porch time for sure.
Definitely, it was 74 degrees earlier today, so I enjoyed the front porch and got a little sun, which is why I am wearing short sleeves today. So,
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, at that time of year, if you got long sleeves on and long pants, you're just out of fashion, right?
I was never in fashion then, I guess.
I was gonna say, don't, never been in fashion, but then again, I don't need flannel in this weather either. So,
Very, very, very true. All right.
Nobody wants to see these legs.
What's that, Randall?
Nobody wants to see these legs.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. This time of year, after a long winter, most of us have lost whatever tan we might have, gained the last year. So we are white as snow, as the poem says, top and bottom, for sure. All right, well, it's good to see everyone here with us today. Thanks for joining us, and we're going to slide right on into Angela and let her play Santa B's Hot Cup of Cocoa segment for us.
Ho, 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 and happy day, my friends. Santa B here with you here again today. Today I want to talk to you about kind of a different idea. It's called a mission statement, or maybe you can call it your aspiration or even your purpose. And although in the past I've talked a little bit about the ideas of how to put that down for your portrayal, I want to talk about putting it down for your life. What is your mission, aspiration, or purpose? And how does it help you define the things you do every day? Taking time and actually putting pen to paper and thinking about what are the things that really matter to me? What brings me joy? And what are the ways that I can have more joy in my life? Truly looking at what matters to you and making that part of your mission statement. Now, one of the things that I love about a mission statement is it is also something that we're not talking about carving in stone. We're talking about writing on paper. So taking time to start creating it, build on it, make it really work for you. I hope you take time and you think about this idea of what is your mission for your life and see how your Christmas portrayal falls into that mission. Be blessed, be well. I love you all. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you, Santa B, for that. Always very inspirational. Great way to start our week off on Mondays. After a hard weekend of play and fun and honeydews, it's always good to have an inspirational moment.
It's our
All right.
50th week already, our 50th week. This
What's
is week
that?
5 already?
Yeah,
Week 5 already.
I know. Episode 5 is just it's amazing. That's all we can say. It is amazing.
indeed.
All right, so first up on our menu, as always, is the Elf Appetizer, and we're going to roll into this and have Phineas on the other side of that.
Well, now, that's not just a burger, that's a statement. Welcome to the Elf Appetizer, where we get straight to the meat of the hot topics. Stop drooling, fellas, we're just getting started. We stack it high, truth, humor, a little heat, and we don't nibble around the edges. So pull up a chair, loosen that belt, and let's take a real bite out of this thing. Let's carve into it.
If that's an appetizer for an elf boy, what is the main meal?
I was thinking the very same thing to myself.
That's an appetizer, Phineas. My goodness, you roast a half a cow, or
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's the cheese and the bacon that gets me. So no, no.
He's a hard worker. It takes lots of protein and nutrition to keep him going
I
hard.
was going to say, and it's keto too. So what can you say?
Oh,
So
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
Very
there you go.
Very good.
So today's question is twofold, and I'd like especially to hear from the Mrs. Clauses who have logged in. I know there's a few Mrs. Clauses who have logged in, as well as any elves. But the question we have is, how do we encourage more Mrs. Clauses, elves, and diverse performers to enter the industry? Can better representation and recruitment and maybe training and mentorship help shape the next decade? And for Mrs. Clauses in particular, um, did you feel welcome when you first entered the industry? Or did you feel unwelcome when you first entered the industry? So, so
Well,
as the token elf on board here, I was lucky that I had a Santa who specifically wanted my assistance and services. And he was also very supportive in allowing me to dictate who I was as an elf, rather than the standard, as I call it, the rubies, tunic, and tights elf, because ain't nobody want to see these legs and tights. Um, and no spandex looks good on these legs. Sorry. um, but at the same time, um, there were times when I was paired, usually through an agency or another hiring partner, with a Santa who didn't see the need of having an elf to work with, or didn't see the need of having a Mrs. Claus to work with. Um, and it was very difficult because I was supposed to be there to help and support them. And that individual made it as difficult as I could, as could be, for me to help and support them. So, long story short, is I just ended up doing what I could do away from the Santa. And sadly, there are still Santas that are very much like that. Um, but I have found that the Santas who came from other areas of entertainment, the clowns, the musicians, the magicians, they were very supportive of having someone to work with, because they realized that having a coworker will help take the load off them, and they can focus on their portrayal and their visits with the believers. So it's a cultural shift and it is changing, but there still are times when it's been problematic for me as a performer. And personally, there have been issues with who I am as a person outside of performance as well, but we won't go there.
yeah,
good.
that's. I mean,
Wonder for you, Phineas.
the second line on there about recruiting and training, but that's that's to me that's a given, and that's always going to help. Recruiting, training, mentorship, that's a thing. And it's sad that what Phineas said, that there still are some Santas out there that don't understand the value, and it's a value to having an elf or Mrs. Claus with you. I tell you, I went years without, and it's just like I look back and go, man, I wish it could work, because it is so much help to you when you're there. They are there to assist. It's
Mhm.
and I wish, I don't know how to get more out there, like um, how do we recruit, I guess is the weird, I guess the word to say. But I mean, hopefully any um, Mrs. Clauses and elves have felt welcome, and I know sometimes they don't, because there are that group of, the old men's club or boys club Santas still out there. Um, but man, if you guys realize, it's it makes your life easier as Santa. It makes it so much more enjoyable. It makes your job easier. It is such a pleasure to do that. I wish we could get more. And I don't know how to, maybe some Mrs. Clauses out there have some ideas about how to recruit more. I think it's a great one. I know I see Jenny there. That was very nice, Jenny. Yeah, I'm glad to see you up in Maps. And I remember Sean White was her first in time coming up with was. So in fact, that was the first one she bumped into when she walked into the hotel. So it was they should be felt. We should not, as Santas, let them not feel welcome. We should not do that. If it's Mrs. Claus, if it's an elf, whoever it is, that's 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 an old saying. That's not very Santa-like. Also, go ahead, Bob. Sorry, I was rambling there.
No, I was going to say for me on the recruiting side of things, the first moment that anyone shows interest in what Santa is doing or mentions Mrs. Claus or elves or anything to do with Christmas performance, I'm there to help try to recruit them into the industry because if they have a question or an interest in it, they're the perfect candidate to try to bring in. And I have been very successful doing that over the past handful of years. And you know, it, diversity is great on all fronts. It doesn't matter skin color,
Oh,
anything. It's all what is right here. All right, Phoenix, here's one for you.
Okay, Kevin from Aurelia, Ontario says, by helping Santas realize elves and Mrs. Clauses are a vital part of the holiday and not feel threatened by their presence, Santas have to make them feel welcome. And that's a good point. There have been events that are training events, meeting events, and such like that, where I have been at, and oftentimes the Mrs. Clauses and the elves get shifted off, as I call it, down to the broom closet or down into the basement when the Santas are elsewhere, and it's can be very disheartening, and it definitely goes a long way to making you feel like a second class citizen at an event, and so little things like that make a huge difference. So like if I understand that some of these events where the primary focus is on the man himself, but at the same time, you should, make sure that the other performers, even though they may have different topics and subjects, are not feeling like they're just shuffled off to the corner to do their own thing. There was a couple of events where, um, Santa's had educational stuff, and Mrs. Clauses were suggested that they just go to the corner and do crafts and stuff.
craft. Yeah.
And that is not acceptable in this day and age, as far as I'm concerned. They're there for the same reason that the Santas are, to get education, period. So
Another one, Phineas.
Laura Shell says, my feet are not super iced up yet, but I've done a couple of events where I feel completely welcome. I have not worked yet with a Santa, though. And Laura works as both a Mrs. Claus and as an elf, and she also works as Ruby the reindeer. And those events were on her own. So she is a multi-talented individual that we're looking at. Jenny Kringle says that Rachel King was one of the first Mrs. Clauses she ever spoke to on the phone when she had reached out to ask her about her dress. She shared her number and called her right away. And Rachel helped Jenny right away to find out what type of Mrs. Claus I wanted to be, and I am forever grateful. And I see that happening a lot with the Mrs. Clauses, is that they are definitely trying to work together as best as they can and support each other. So.
Yeah, I think that's a bigger thing that Mrs. Clauses are working better together than maybe all the Santas yet.
Mhm.
Because it's always been like Phineas was saying, you went to a school and Mrs. Clauses were there and Santas were here and it was separated. Now it's blending together much more in most of the schools. But it's great to see that Mrs. Claus can help themselves because I mean it is still two different worlds. Even though we're holiday performers, it still is two different mindsets of what Mrs. Claus does, what Elf does, and what Santa does. Even though we're all there for the same reason, the children and for the hearts, there still is a specialty that they possess that that they must learn, and we don't we don't do so.
Yes, and just for a programming note, Jenny, tomorrow night's guest on Tuesday Night Live will be Rachel King and Liz Rouge. So everyone be sure and join in on that one. Pat Weston says the first year felt welcome, watched YouTube, Mentor, Worldwide, Santa Network, worked, seat my pants. Kind of gets the gist of what he says there.
It's
Randall?
yeah. We were all bringing Christmas magic. Literally, the more the merrier, which is true, Kane. And that's the whole thing. That is the bottom line. Our job is to bring, Christmas magic to everybody. I remember years ago when I first started, there weren't even any schools besides C.W. Howard,
Mhm.
and that was impossible to get into unless you knew somebody and had enough money. So it was a totally different thing to go there than it is now. There wasn't as many opening and embracing places for Mrs. Claus's elves, everybody. So
Phineas?
The Vineyard Santa said, I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for my Mrs. Claus. And that's very heartening to hear. I'm quite sure Santa Doug, who is Jenny Kringle's Santa who recruited her, would pretty much say the same thing. Uh, and I know, as a matter of fact, with Liz, Roosh, and Tracy, that it was the opposite. Lizzie wanted to be Mrs. Claus, and she co-opted Tracy into being Santa.
Yeah, that happens some, but it's
Uh,
really,
yeah.
when I first got in anyway, it seemed like the ladies were apprehensive. They'd watch Santa and say, nah, I don't want to do that. Go ahead and have your fun. And they
Mhm.
go to, a half a dozen events with Santa, and all of a sudden they say, well, hey, this looks like a lot of fun, and maybe I should get involved. And it evolves from there. But either way, it doesn't matter. We're just glad to have everyone.
yeah, that's the whole thing. We're all here for the same reason. I mean, like I said earlier, the bottom line is to make the children happy, to bring love, hope, and all that.
Mhm.
So we should be all on the same goal that way. It's doesn't matter if you're Mrs. Claus, Santa, Elf. I mean, that is the bottom line. But so
And there are just so many jobs. When I say jobs, from the placement agencies, especially, and some of the mall jobs that go unfilled every year because there's not enough people to fill the need. Demand is more than supply, so therefore we're constantly having to try to fill those seats between attrition, retirement. For whatever reason, we have to constantly be replacing.
Mhm.
Phineas.
Jenny also notes that Shaun White was instrumental in her becoming a Mrs. Claus, and good thing because Sean's show is starting up tonight, so we can do that. John Schnegelberger notes that his elf was also kind of the boss where I chair at the museum, so it's always a partnership, and that's how I try to work with Santas. I try to work as their partner and support them. I want to make life easy for the big man in red. So.
there's a big one, Phineas. That's for you.
Okay. Santa Doug says, first we need to start having conversations with people and sharing the meaningful purpose and ministry behind this work. Introduce them to the Christmas performer community they not now know even exists. More importantly, lower the barrier to entry. Do not expect someone new to immediately invest in expensive wardrobes, training, or props. Be gracious, kind, and welcoming. That's the big one there. Be gracious, kind, and welcoming, because so often in the groups I see someone who is posting their first picture and they're proud as punch to be Santa, and the first thing they get is, you got a fake beard, your beard looks like crap, your belt looks like crap, get a better costume. And it's just like, can you just provide positive feedback or constructive feedback as opposed to that? um, Offer mentorship and guide them towards free learning resources to help them get them started. And that's the main thing, is that you need to understand the difference between coaching and mentorship and just being a critic.
Yeah, and,
And
and and if somebody does post a picture like that, and then you really want to help say something, do it private. Send them a private DM or something. To post it out there, it just doesn't look very Santa Mrs. Claus like, or anybody like, to put those negativities out there. Now, and we look at that and we see somebody grouchy. We see, the shirt like this, but to put it out there is just not a to do it privately, and then, like Phineas says, do something constructive with
constructive and supportive, uplift
yeah.
them, and help them. Don't
Don't
just try to shoot them down. Please don't do that, because that's how we are losing people, is by making the community so negative.
Yeah,
I
get a
mean,
And
private message, be kind and helpful. Don't be, find out, get to know the person for a moment before you
yeah.
just jump into, whatever has got you all riled up, but do
Mhm.
it in a kind way. Don't put the burden on them and run them away, as Phineas and Randall
Mhm.
has said.
yeah,
Okay, Phineas?
Don Weinreich says, I wonder if those who have the attributes of a Santa or Mrs. Claus can visualize themselves as Santa or Mrs. Santa. I think if we can get people to see their vision of Santa in themselves, we can get them to join us as long as we treat them with respect. And that is the truth. I know a lot of Mrs. Clauses don't want to be, the grandmotherly type wearing the mop cap and the colonial wigs and stuff like that. And I think the younger Santas like the Lizzie Ruches of the world and Betsy and Sean. And I'm thinking Moesha of Eric and Moesha, the Nubian Santas, showing the different varieties of Mrs. Clauses you can be. And you can be who you want just as any Santa can be who they are. So.
See, that's what's wonderful about Mrs. Claus is they're kind of inventing their own future.
Mhm.
There is no Coca-Cola look. There is no this look. There is no that look of
Mhm.
Mrs. Santa. You are in the infancy of Mrs. Claus. You can kind of build it and become, like Phineas says, who you are. It's not going to be that mop top anymore that was in those books when in the early the 20s and 30s and 40s. So
Yeah, I
it's
was going to say the mob hat is a thing of the past.
yeah. Um, Betsy says, I'm thankful for Santas I work with them. I work with. It's a joy to partner with them and the elves I work with to create a wonderful children. That's exactly the bottom line, Betsy. To for the children. That is so. If we work together, support, help, um, everybody wins. Then we all get the job again. If you think about it.
Here's a problem. My wife recruited herself. She said, "Ain't nobody else going to be your Mrs. Claus." That's from Kane Smith. Funny stuff, Kane.
And I think Phineas said it too. There's some Mrs. Clauses or wives that say, I can't see myself being that yet, and they have the heart for it. It just
Sure.
sometimes takes a little time, and to get them to come to some of the events to see, how open it is and how caring everybody is, it can definitely put them over.
This one goes to Mike. Phineas.
Betsy agrees with what I have said, that we are all professionals and should receive the same relevant training. And yeah, well, I understand there are things that can be specific to Santas and specific to elves and Mrs. Clauses. At the same time, we don't treat the different performers differently. We should give them all the same level of respect. And maybe the Mrs. Clauses want to see what their Santas are learning, or maybe the Santas want to see what the Mrs. Clauses are learning. So we should be supportive of being able to do that, but treat everyone equally and not, stick them in the broom closet or downstairs in the basement when, we've got the option to. So.
Yeah, I was in a class one time, and the ladies broke out, went into a separate room, and probably within 10 minutes of that breakout, two of the women came back in and sat down. And during the break, it was asked, well, why did y'all come back? And they said, well, we wanted to be in here to learn what Santa is learning. The Mrs. Claus portion wasn't what we thought it was going to be, so they came back in. And I think you see that a lot. A lot of the ladies like to stay behind, and in those breakout sessions. So
We need to teach people at that point in time that they put on the suit or dress, and they are no longer Bobber Sue. They're Santa and Mrs. Claus, and that's we have to always stay in character when we are when we are suited up. Um, we are. So that's perfect. That's it.
Laura says that she always wanted to do Christmas as her grandfather was a city Santa. She recruited herself basically, but she's always willing to share what she likes to do and what she does. She went to Academy of Clown Arts Christmas program as well as other things, so sharing helps to recruit. And that's the main thing is, sometimes people will come up to you when you're performing and just sort of say, I really want to talk to you about that. So that would be when you give them your business card and say, let's talk because I'm kind of busy right now. And we can talk offline about that if you're really serious about it. So,
Yeah, my Mrs. Claus always makes sure I look. It's good. I know it's just a typo.
mhm,
So blessed to have Debbie. I agree. She's an amazing lady, Randy. You're lucky.
mhm.
Good. Yes, really. It's a very rare occasion that Phineas is not with me. And see, and then you guys know the advantage of having that backup, that help, that support. You're not, Santa's not out there alone.
Correct. And Santa Scott says, definitely do not want to miss Sean's show tonight. So, and Ernie says in the East Coast they lost 2 Santas.
So sorry to hear that.
We're sorry to hear that.
Talking about right there.
That's the
Okay.
craziness of.
We've got time for a couple more here. Let's go ahead and grab this one.
When we work high volume as a team, how do we get the client organizations, in our case, to let the team have diversity? They want Santas to be identical year to year, night to night, and that's.
That takes time and effort because you need to be able to show that, especially if you're in a diverse community, that representation is also very important as well.
Absolutely.
But I mean, ultimately, if you have a client who is hiring someone, they will go with what their vision is. I think what we are talking about more broad-minded is the fact that we as a community need to begin showing the clients that there are diverse
Right.
images of who or what Santa can be, and that Santas of color, Santas who speak Spanish, heck, Santas that can converse in American Sign Language. It's all important to be able to have these options in the community so we're able to support everyone in the community, all communities. So.
Absolutely. John says it would be easier for me to encourage a new Mrs. or Elf than established one. Ernie says it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. That's very true. Back to the point. Let's pick up 2 more here, and then we're going to have to move along.
Santa Scott says that when he was looking to be a Santa, he was corrected in every word he said and questioned if he really wanted to do it. So be kind and try to answer the new people question in a way that doesn't make them feel like every question they ask is wrong. And once again, coach how you are coaching these people in a way that supports them. And if they make something that does require correct them. Don't shoot them down. You attract more flies with honey than vinegar. So
Correct. And I know exactly what Scott is talking about. Those comments and things that happened prior to him meeting me was what directed him to find someone else, and he was referred to me. And you see where that's ended up for both of us.
Yeah, it's. I have abandoned some Santa groups on Facebook because some of the members were just so critical of others. I didn't feel Santa like at all, and that's what I said earlier. Just don't. I mean, why post the negativity and make the industry and Santa Mrs. Clauses look bad because for some reason you gotta type something that's not positive or not just we'll talk on the side. Even if you want to say something like that, do it on the side. Nobody sticks Betsy in the room, brother. That's right. Or in the corner either, Betsy, right?
in the corner.
Or in the corner.
The one thing I will say is that when you are wearing the red suit, everything that you do reflects on the community as the whole. So if you are wearing the red suit, your actions in the red suit reflect everybody else who wears the red suit. So your impact will have impact on others and how people feel about everybody who wears that suit. So think about it that way.
Yeah, and you might not get the job back because they didn't like you, but they might not get another Santa back either because they're upset because the whatever happened at that particular moment.
Yeah, and Don makes a point about compensation. Depends on what market you're in, what the rate is, and a lot of smaller markets don't have the budget to add a Mrs. Claus or an elf. Some of the smaller markets, I know some of the Santa's Mrs. Clauses put a package together where they charge for Santa, but Mrs. Claus comes along as a service, which is fine if you feel that is worthy of your time. And so John says it comes down to teamwork. Can't all be the goal scorers. Need goalies too. I'm going to catch one more here. Bob made a good observation about Mrs. Claus learning what Santa does. I think it would be great for Santa to learn all about what Mrs. Claus does. Very good point, Ernie. And
That's
to work together, you almost have to. I mean, that to me would be essential. Doug says it would cost him more if he didn't have his Mrs. Claus working with him.
yeah, you're do whatever we can and to help and promote the industry. Whatever we can, just like Bob said, just talk to people and try to get them aboard and just tell how much fun it is. Tell them how rewarding it is financially. Besides, it's really emotionally rewarding to do it. It's so. I mean, you can't be any more lucky to be able to put the red suit on or Mrs. Claus, I'm just going to do the old-fashioned bonnet or apron. You're not going to wear that, but to be out there doing it, it's nothing is like it out there. Nothing can compare.
Jeff says, please keep in mind that a new Santa desire to grow is at its highest point. Don't ruin their vision and with negative comments. Great point as always, Jeff. I think we'll call it a done deal. At that point, we need to move along. And so, Angela, will you roll our next video?
Fantastic.
Today's trivia is brought to you by North Pole Cornerstones, and both of these questions, the sleigh bell brain teaser and the bonus round clause and effect, will get your name in the hat for the scholarship drawing for NPC 2027. Over to you, Phineas.
Okay, so today's first word, and please be advised the producer needs the letter and word as your answer. So make sure you give us the letter and the word as the answer for both rounds. So for the first round, the French word Noel is used around Christmas. What was its original meaning in Latin? A, birth, B, journey, C, sol invictus, and D, star.
Very good. Over to you, Randall, for the cause and effect.
Yeah, cause and effect is, what is the first line of the Christmas carol? The first Noel the angel did. And then you also make sure you put down A, sing, or B, pray, C, play, or D, say. So it's got to be both the letter and the word. So you have to put both down to win both of them. Great thing to get in the hat for the North Pole Cornerstones. That's like how many hundreds of dollars of a deal. So that's a great deal. So don't forget, we need both. Good. We got people coming in already.
All right, very good. So let's go ahead and keep moving along. We're doing good. Elf and Chatterbox News today. We basically have one segment here, and Randall is going to give us that about the WWOCS.
Yes, the WOCS, the Wondrous Women's of Christmas Society. I'll get that word out. The Wondrous Women of Christmas Society. 2 dates, Greater Cincinnati. It's not easy. The tongue gets turned around and, it's the teeth. The new teeth aren't working right. The Greater Cincinnati area, June 25th through 28th of 2026. And they got a second date in St. Charles, Missouri. Is September 10th through the 13th of 2026. Incredible. And so if you want to learn more about it, tells you all about it, what's going on, who the instructors are going to be, and of course, not just rattle me off all these dates. Go to womenofchristmas.com. Go to womenofchristmas.com. There's another way to hook up and to know more about Mrs. Claus. Mrs. Claus can learn more, and Santa's can learn more about Mrs. Claus by going there. The Wondrous Women of Christmas Society. 2 new dates. Don't miss them. Go to
Right. And for those who may have joined us late, I know there has been a few that has joined us. Tomorrow night, the Tuesday Night Live show will be Rachel King and Liz Rouge, which is the Wondrous Women of Christmas Society, and the show will be all about the Wondrous Women of Christmas Society. So be sure and tune in. Got a great script put together for that one, thanks to Rachel. And so next we're going to go to Digging Deeper with Phineas, and that is brought to you by Thermapparel and Holiday Photo Magic. Angela, play the lead again.
I gotta find it. I was busy looking at trivia answers.
Phineas has got the shovel ready.
Goodness.
You need a red shovel.
He's got the shovel ready. He's got ready to dig.
Okay, I think I found it. Here we go.
Woo!
Good day, everybody. Hoping everybody had a good and successful weekend. And for those that do celebrate, hoping everybody has a wonderful Holy Week leading up into Easter weekend. As I have started in the past few weeks, we've been discussing, what does your North Pole look like? So let's talk about, what does the sky look like in your North Pole, especially when you're visiting during the wintertime? Because we all know that when you get to a certain point up north, basically after a certain time of the year, it is dark all night long, or all day long. It is dark pretty much 24 hours a day up at the North Pole. So when you look up, when you are wandering around your North Pole, what do you see? Do you see stars in the sky? Do you see the North Star? Do you see the moon? Do you see northern lights? Or as your North Pole in a magical valley where there's always sort of like light going on. And so that way you're able to describe what things look like better, because can you see off in the distance? Because year round, particularly at the nighttime, what colors are things? Because things look different at night versus at dusk versus in the daytime. So I see Ernie Russo says he has northern lights with the North Star. So and that is one thing that you can do. So if it's dark out and it's nighttime at the North Pole, do you wander around with a flashlight? Do you wander around with a lantern? How do you get around? Do you have magical lights that follow you? Or are there string Christmas lights everywhere, so it's like a Christmas village 24/7 at the North Pole? Things to talk about when you're asked about what your North Pole looks like. Because children want to know. They want to know, because especially, the children that get a little bit of science at school, it's dark all the time at the North Pole in wintertime. The same thing is if you're visiting during Christmas in July or during a summertime. What's it like? How do you sleep at night when the sun is out 24 hours a day and it's daylight all the time? Do you have blackout curtains, stuff like that? Because you will get the odd, particularly the children that are on the cusp of not believing, particularly the 8 or 9-year-old boys who want to ask you all the gotcha questions. And you got to be able to answer that really quickly in a believable way. Very much like Ernie, at our North Pole, we have the night sky with clear skies above Christmas Valley. So the stars are out, the moon is out, and every so often the northern lights are really active. So it's very colorful and such. So we are able to see, and in areas where it is darker, there are Christmas lights everywhere in Christmas Valley. So we've got options with which we can say. Charlie Johnson says that his North Pole has a magical camouflage dome covering it to prevent satellites from seeing them, but allows us to view the billions of stars visible during the winter. We use blackout shades during the summer, just like the folks in Alaska. And so there you go. Charlie has thought things through as to what his North Pole is like during the summer and during the winter time. And that way you're able to answer it in a believable way. And then you can talk about the problems that you had, oh, at one point there was a power failure and we were stumbling around in the dark and the northern lights were not all that great. And there was clouds in the sky, so we couldn't see the northern star and didn't know where we were going. So you've got ways of creating interactions with children and creating more stories that you can tell about things. And so Charlie has that, we've got a dome. So if you flew over the North Pole, you won't be able to see where we are because it's camouflaged and the satellites won't pick us up and, there won't be any radar. And similar things have happened during the Santa Claus story where when the plane flew over and they had to go completely silent in the North Pole, so people couldn't hear the noises through sonar or whatever it was that the planes had. So there was lots of opportunity to do storytelling and world building and create an opportunity for you to interact with the children, particularly the ones who don't believe or the parents who just want to cause trouble for you, and they do exist. So once again, think about when you look up at the North Pole, when you're out with the reindeer and it's December, just before Christmas, what does the sky look like? What does the sky look like? What color are the northern lights right now? Are they pink? Are they purple? Are they green? Is it cloudy up there? Was it cloudy when you left the North Pole to come down to visit, when you came down to do your visit at the big box store or the corporate event that you're doing? Think about things like that, because you're able to create a story about, if you were late to get to the event because of weather or traffic or something, how would you frame that and say, well, it was really dark and we had problems taking off and the reindeer didn't know which way we were going for the first little while. So lots of opportunities there to create stories, to explain difficulties you've had at that time, and to also build your world and paint a brighter, more colorful picture when you're telling your stories. Hope this helps. Thank you for your comment, Laura. Always great to get some feedback, and hoping everybody else begins to paint the picture as to what their North Pole looks like as we go through this series. Wishing everybody a good week, wishing everybody a happy Easter who celebrates, and hoping to enjoy the week. Have a good one. Thank you.
Ho, 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 ho!
Shop Thermo Apparel. They're wonderful. They're fantastic. And for the coolest of cool Santas or Easter bunnies, remember Thermo Apparel.
Don't just be cool as an attitude. Keep cool, literally.
Thermo Apparel! Be cool! Ho, 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 ho!
Hello, everybody, and thank you again. It is Monday afternoon for me, and it is showtime. It's time for a little bit of magical performance, and I'm going to show you a couple things. You're just going to go through them and I'm using kind of the same magical item, but you can definitely use it for Santa. It's a lot of fun. In fact, I'll go through a thing, and of course, we all know what these are. They're fun little marshmallows, and they're fun to bring along, especially for the children for the holidays. You can do the eating it, or you can even do snowball fights. But it's fun when you tell the child. You get a couple children to come up and they put them in your mouth, and you pass them out, and of course then Santa puts one in his mouth. I'm going to put this down so I have an extra hand here. So you do a whole story about eating snowballs and all those kind of things, and sometimes you do a little snowball fight if you want to, and Santa puts it in his mouth. And, you can't talk with the snowball in your mouth. Mouth. No, marshmallow. Wow. That's a big marshmallow. Wow, that's a big marshmallow. You can go on much longer. It's called a mouth coil. They're a little tiny, but these look just like marshmallows, and they're a fun thing to, almost the exact same size as a marshmallow. It's hard to even tell, especially when they're in a bowl. But it's great for an elf to do. Children laugh when it comes out of the mouth. I don't know if Mrs. Claus would be a good thing to do that with, but especially then, you have some fun instead of throwing. Hopefully, children will pick these up and put them in their mouth afterwards. But it's a fun way to add a little magic to a little story about marshmallows. You can make a snowball story, whatever you want to do. And that's up to you and your patter, and up to you and your storyline about what type of Santa you are. But they're just a magic trick that it's just a magic prop. That's and they just pull out. I can grab the one that's down here. That's probably easier to. And they just pull and pull, and that's the one that I pulled out is only half done. This is the rest of it. It can go for a long time, so it makes a real big pile of string or on the floor, but it's a lot of fun. It gets their attention and everything else. So it's called a mouth coil, and I've got hats off to people that use them. In fact, oh wait a minute, there's something in my hat. Something in my hat. Something I think is in my hat. If I can get it. Oh, there it is. It's stuck in my hat. That's the problem. It's stuck. It's stuck in my hat. It's another coil, but it's very colorful. Greens and silver. Almost looks like you can keep on going. These are 50 feet long, so you can. I'll show you those and keep on going. They don't take up much room. Yeah, I'm still going with the same one. It keeps on. It's an amazing magical prop. That this is just taped in, but it's also just it's a little mouth coil. So that little mouth coil brings all that time. You can elaborate on the time you do, or especially these. I like using these the best when it comes to you're making garland for a Christmas tree. These are wonderful because they look so much like tinsel or a garland for a Christmas tree. You can magically produce garland out of that whole. Where'd that little bag go? I know I got the little bag somewhere. I had a little bag somewhere. You can produce this out of just even the littlest bag imaginable. Where'd that little blue bag go? Oh well, that's okay. It doesn't take up much space. It's even more fun sometimes if you can. A lot of magicians will do this, and they'll reach behind the child and they'll say, "Wait a minute, you've got a tag that's loose," and they basically produce a long coil behind their collar. Of course, everybody giggles. It's great for Mrs. Claus would be great because then she can decorate the children, look like garland, or decorate the tree. But it's just a couple of magic props, magic accessories that can give you a magical feeling, a little bit more of a connection with people out there. These are disposable. Am I gonna want? No, I would love to recycle. Actually, the white ones are great. They start my. I've kept So I've actually kept those two, the white ones, to help my fire pit. They start so good. They're a great kindle to begin with. So they do get real good. Um, they do have other colors. They have red, yellow, and green mouth coils. I just like these because they're so beautiful. They're glittery. They're a little more expensive, but if you do it at a home visit, you're not something you're going to do at a mall or a big box store. A corporate event's a great spot for them. It just adds that little magical touch with a couple little tiny magic props and a story you can build around it. Again, that's up to you. You build a story. I mean, we can, if you want to contact me, we can chit chat and do a story together. Everything else. Would do one of those hair bags, Mrs. Claus. I was Ruby and was reindeer, clown, maybe the mouth. Yes, that's perfect, Gloria. Yeah, a clown mouth. Mrs. Claus, I don't think that would work out of. If she's got a little, a little tiny coin purse. You get the little tiny coin purses that are maybe about this big, the old-fashioned ones you snap open. Then you pull, this out of there continually. It's very magical. Mrs. Claus can do that very easy. Just out of a little coin purse, you could put this little tiny mouth coil. So Mrs. Claus can do it that way. Just maybe not the mouth. This same thing. Santa or maybe an elf, if you're going to do a marshmallow thing. So just a couple ideas. I want to say this actually, to be honest with you, I learned doing it this way from Jumbo, Santa down in Michigan, Toledo area. He showed using these mouth coils with the marshmallows at our maps meetings, and I thought it was a cool thing. I've only done it a couple times as Santa. I've done the garland far more. I even have a piece of paper that you fold up and looks like a Christmas tree, and it comes out of an empty piece of paper. So, but those are a couple ideas. If you need if you want some more information or just a chit chat, there goes Charlie. He's the man. I think he just put mouth coils in the thing. As always, thank you, Charlie. If you need any info, got me. Give me a holler. I am me, DM me, whatever those phrases are. There, I'm an old guy. I don't know what some of those little words are, but contact me. I'll be glad to help. We can talk about stuff. Thank you again, as always. It's such an honor, such a pleasure, and to thank you all for joining us here on Mondays. You guys are the best. See you soon.
Wow, great segments. I'm going to catch a couple of these comments that we've got just a moment for. John says at the end of this series, Phineas needs to put this out as a pamphlet. Kane Smith says, awesome segment, Phineas. And I believe this one is towards Randall here. I'm using my hometown, the one I grew up in, as my blueprint for my North Pole. That way I can remember where things are and make up my story based on different locations from my childhood. That's from Sue Radloff. And of course, Charlie says, great idea, Sue. Don says, I guess that when I put on the red suit, I really didn't care what other so-called Santas said. I came from a background of historical reenactment and had already dismissed historical accuracy persons. I was only concerned with what the people who hired me thought. That must go back to the other segment.
And that's good. That's that's the true that way. We have our own individual personality anyway. We're each of us have our different personality. Even though we are Santa or Mrs. Claus, we still not all exact same that way. So sorry, I didn't mean to.
You're
I
good.
have a marshmallow eating contest during my home visits, and of course Santa will always loses. And by putting the mouth coil in, it is always a hit. Great show as usual, gentlemen. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, guys. Always thank you for everybody. Awesome job, Randy. Thank you for bringing the knowledge every Monday. Very nice of you. Thank you, guys. It's so sweet, everybody. Amazing presentation. I learned a lot, new things. Awesome job. I'll be back. Well, glad to have you here and glad to have you back, Laura. That's some fun magic. Thank you, John.
And one last one here.
I could see Santa pulling out a garland and pulling out of a bags and saying, "This is for your tree. Needs a little more color." Exactly, Don. That's the whole thing. You can, especially the glittery one. They have, the regular paper looking one, but the one that's they're a little bit more money. But I tell you, they are beautiful. The reflection then on a tree is fun.
I actually use the shiny ones when I do Phineas solo shows, and if there is in particular a father or a grandfather or an uncle who is being problematic, I will get them up and we begin decorating them like a tree. And the last thing we do is we wrap them up with garland and make sure that they are well and truly tied up with the garland by the time they're done, because they have 50 feet of that stuff wrapped around them. Children always want to help, and usually the spouses do too. So.
It just adds fun, like you said. It just adds fun to your performance. It adds that memory that's above and beyond the picture, the photo that they took. It's a memory. It's something special that you stood out.
And it's always a good photo moment at the end too. So.
All wrapped up like that. That's fantastic. You got to pick a not grandma. Never do grandma. Grandpa or dad's. That's it.
All right. I'll tell you what, guys, you two always bring the goods when it comes to Monday. Fantastic job from both of you. Again, want to say real quickly, thank you to Thermal Apparel, Holiday Photo Magic for being the contributors to the show, as well as King Risk Partners and Caboose. Now let's get to our trivia answer, the Sleigh Bell Brain Teaser. The French word for Noel, original meaning in Latin, is birth. That was A, birth. And the Claus in Effect bonus round, the first line of the Christmas Carol, the first Noel, is D. The first Noel, the angels did say, S-A-Y. And got one winner. Won both of them. Mr. Trivia.
And those fingers were smoking.
Damn fingers were smoking today, the producer says. All right, AJ, you get your name in the hat for the TNL drawing for the NPC next February 2 times today. So 2 times your name goes in. All right, Angela, let's go ahead and play our last contributors video. I want to say thank you to Santa Central and Cherry Hill Programs. If you are in the market for a one-day fill-in, seasonal work, part-time, full-time, chair jobs, malls, reach out to Cherry Hill. All right, guys, anything you want to take away from today's show real quick?
Always fun. Phineas, it's a great thing. Look at him, because a lot of times you don't think about what does the sky look like at North Pole. It's dark at night and this and that. And we have stars north, but to take it that little step further to feel, and it's all bottom line, it's all building that backstory and feeling comfortable when you say it. And that's exactly what Phineas is going for. We're so
They
comfortable just
want to know if it's
rattle off.
cold, if it's snowy, if you're having a blizzard, if and when you get ready to fly out on Christmas Eve, if it's really snowy and blizzardy, do you have to fly above the clouds, below the clouds? I mean, there are so many questions because children are so in tune and smart nowadays. You've really got to have your backstory solid and be able to have that ready off the end of your tongue and make it believable, as Randy and Phineas always says.
And a lot of them have their little computers right at hand, and they
They
can
sure
fact check
do.
you because they can Google you just as fast as AJ can. So
I check you in a heartbeat. After then, a snowflake can melt.
Yep.
For sure. All right, I want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to Phineas, T. Elf, Randall Santa Checker Lee, our producer Angela Mack, and everyone that joined us today. We had a great, great crowd. Love the numbers we're getting. Love all the interaction. Thanks everyone for joining us. Catch us tomorrow night for WWOCS. Rachel King and Liz Roos. Great show lined up there. Thanks everyone.
Stay safe. Stay magical. See you soon.
My computer froze up on me. I gotta come over here.
Uh-oh.
We gotta keep on talking. Oh, that's a terrible thing. We're gonna run. We run out of things to say. I don't think we ran out of things to say.
I think it's time to retire that computer. It's just, oh man.
She wears it out with comments during the shows.
Oh yeah, it's
Tired.
okay.
All right. I
Bye,
thank
everybody.
y'all, and we will see y'all at what time? 6
Couple
Central,
hours.
7 Eastern
That's
for the Claus
Claus
Connect.
Connect tonight. That's right.
Hours.
Thank you for joining our Happy Hour. We'll see you this afternoon with Claus Connect.